Hi, thank you for joining me. My name is Crina, and today I would like to share with you a piece of writing released by Johnny Depp. He posted this statement on his Instagram page on 1st of June 2022. Here it goes. 6 years ago, my life, the life of my children, and the lives of those closest to me, and also the lives of the people who for many, many years have supported and believed in me were forever changed. All in the blink of an eye. False, very serious, and criminal allegations were levied at me via the media, which triggered an endless barrage of hateful content, although no charges were ever brought against me. It had already traveled around the world twice within a nanosecond, and it had a seismic impact on my life and my career. And 6 years later, the jury gave me my life back. I am truly humbled. My decision to pursue this case, knowing very well the height of the legal hurdles that I would be facing and the inevitable worldwide spectacle into my life, was only made after considerable thought. From the very beginning, the goal of bringing this case was to reveal the truth, regardless of the outcome. Speaking the truth was something that I owed to my children and to all those who have remained steadfast in their support of me. I feel at peace knowing I have finally accomplished that. And the second page. I am and have been overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and the colossal support and kindness from around the world. I hope that my quest to have the truth be told will have helped others, men or women, who have found themselves in my situation, and that those supporting them never give up. I also hope that the position will now return to innocent until proven guilty, both within the courts and in the media. I wish to acknowledge the noble work of the judge, the jurors, the court staff, and the sheriffs who have sacrificed their own time to get to this point, and to my diligent and unwavering legal team who did an extraordinary job in helping me to share the truth. The best is yet to come, and a new chapter has finally begun. Veritas nunquam perit. Truth never perishes. 1st of June 2022, his signature. Johnny Depp. I wanted to share this piece of writing with you because I think it's a strong piece of writing. It's neat, to the point, clear, and also poetic. Another thing I wanted to highlight a little bit is the fact that nowhere in this statement he's mentioning the person who made the lies and spread them. He makes references to the media, but he not once makes reference to the person who started all this nightmare for him and for the people who care about him. And I think that's very important. The fact that he acknowledged so many people who love him, the people in the legal system who did their jobs. He acknowledges all these people except the person who caused him this pain, because it is a pain. Some of you maybe might think, why is this relevant? Why share this piece of writing? And why I was interested in the trial, which I followed for the last seven weeks almost, It lasted six weeks, but all in all, it was about 7 weeks with the breaks. And I'll tell you this. Yeah, sure, in the grand scheme of things, this trial was about some celebrity, whatever. But think about it this way. There are many people who deal with this sort of things, this sort of abuse. Certainly not to the extent, not to the scale Johnny Depp has to deal with, him being a huge celebrity, great artist. But in essence, this is about a man who was wronged. Think about it this way. How would you feel if your father, your brother, your partner was accused of what he was accused? How would you feel if someone just one day started to make these sort of allegations that turn your life into a hurricane and just basically try to destroy your life? And unless you're very strong, you might fall into a very deep pit from which nobody can help you come out unless you're strong enough to do it yourself. I wanted to discuss this piece of writing because I think it's very powerful. In this, Johnny Depp shared a little bit of his writing style, and I've been hoping for a memoir from him to be released for the last couple of years. Maybe he will do that now. Maybe he won't, since he's been so much in the public eye in the last few weeks. But I hold hope that he will release a book at some point, because his writing is really beautiful. It's really strong, has very strong language at times, which was obvious in the trial. But yeah, it's unique. It shows his personality, and you can tell that he's a storyteller. He's charming and truthful. He struck me as someone who told the truth, which at times, quite often, it was harrowing when he was when he was speaking about his childhood, when he was talking about later in his life, the trials in his life, all the horrible things that were going on in his life. So yes, I wanted to share this because for me it is very helpful, and I'm sure it's helpful to many people on this planet. I think a lot of people, strangely, have found solace in watching this trial, although I'm sure it was triggering to many, watching the witnesses, watching all the evidence being brought up to the public eye for everyone to dissect and have an opinion about. But I think ultimately it brought a lot of solace, especially because of the verdict. A lot of people were able to see and decide for themselves what they think about this particular case, and perhaps it brought a lot of hope to other people who have gone through this sort of thing, and maybe they weren't vindicated, they were falsely accused, and they weren't able to prove their innocence. hopefully this case will give hope to others. Let's talk a little bit about the verdict, because I was watching it live and I was tearing up when I was hearing yes, 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 the jury delivering all those yeses in his favor. I was tearing up, and I'm sure many, many others were watching it, because it mustn't have been easy to do this in the public eye. Many have criticized him for taking this trial public, and thank God the judge agreed for this to be public, because if it wouldn't have been public, I'm sure more would have been able to spread more lies and say things weren't as they were. It's unbelievable watching some headlines, especially, for example, the one in The Guardian, which mentioned that the trial was an orgy of misogyny, which I find ridiculous, because if you watch the trial, which I did, I watched most of it live, and if I was unable to watch something live, I watched it on replay on YouTube, because all is available for everyone, all of you, to watch if you want to see what this is about, if you are not aware of it. Reading headlines and articles such as the Guardian one, which says the trial was an orgy of misogyny, other articles saying how this was because the verdict was given because he was charming and because he's a celebrity, and he did this just because he's Johnny Depp and he has all this power. Well, maybe in the public opinion, people were more influenced by who he is, but the jury had access only to what was brought in front of them, and to their ears. They were able to listen to recordings, which not only showed that Johnny Depp didn't abuse Amber Heard, he was the victim. And it's unbelievable to me that some people have no shame. They just go there, write some articles, even with all this evidence, even with all these testimonies, and they still make lies, and they try to twist the truth instead of showing what was clearly why he won this case. The person who brought the allegations against him and made all these incredible claims was not a credible witness, was not a credible person. Anyway, I'm just gonna get more outraged. I also wanted to share with you a quote shared by Adam Waldman on his Instagram page, and the quote is by Martin Luther King Jr., and it says this: "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." And I think this, again, is very relevant to this case, because a lot of people or in the media were saying that, Johnny Depp is gonna make a fool of himself. Why is he bringing this trial public? Because a lot of things that were brought to the light were not that nice about him. But what this did for me, if before I had a respect for Johnny Depp as an artist, because he's a great actor, he's acted in many great movies and depicted very interesting characters. And I had respect for him also because of his charity work. I watched a few clips with him when he went to hospitals and to Make-A-Wish kids who he dressed as Jack Sparrow and brought a little bit or a lot of joy to kids and to parents who are in a lot of pain. And that's not to be taken lightly. That is to give from your time, to bring joy to people if you're able to. And especially to people who are facing death and such pain. To me, that is just extremely important. So why I think this trial is very important, and although it must have been really painful for him to bring this public, I think it was the right thing to do. And I'm glad the judge allowed him to do that when he brought the case to her, because it's all there. Even if the verdict wasn't in his favor, the public would have been able to make an opinion. As he said in his testimony, no matter what, these statements were made, these lies were brought, and unfortunately, some people, regardless of the evidence, they will believe what they want to believe. But I'm grateful that he decided to bring this public and tell the truth. I want to also acknowledge the people in the LawTube community. I discovered this community on YouTube during the time of the trial, while I was searching for commentary on it. I watched most of it live as it was happening, without any commentary, just the cameras in the courtroom. But at times I also watched some commentary by lawyers and people in the LawTube community who had a perspective from a legal point of view, who came to this case from a legal point of view and wanted to see the evidence, and they just came. There were two people in particular who came to this not knowing the case, not knowing the evidence that was released previously, and it was interesting to watch them. And those people were Rick from Hog Law, Virtual Legality, and Kurt from Uncivil Law, I think. It was interesting to watch them because they didn't know the case, and they came clean to the evidence, and they were almost as jurors in the courtroom because they were only subjected to the evidence that was coming through. So it was good to get a perspective of what the jurors in the actual courtroom might think of the case and who they might be siding with. I also want to thank Emily D. Baker, Alida from Legal Bites, Ian Runkle from Runkle of the Bailey, Rob from Law and Lumber, Joe from Good Logic. There was another lady, Natalie, I'm not sure about her channel name. Yeah, there's lots of people who covered this, but these were the main people I was watching and I was exposed to their commentary. Rob, in particular, I really liked his commentary because he's a lawyer who deals with a lot of domestic abuse cases. I think he's specialized in this field of abuse and law. So it was really interesting, and it was really fun as well to watch him debunk the bed theory, how the bed was broken, for example. But it was very nice to see how the commentary he was giving. Emily D. Baker had amazing commentary as well. She also made me cry at one point when she was talking about the police and how they wouldn't just come to someone if they were calling about abuse. They wouldn't just come and go without checking and double checking. Sure, sometimes the police might screw up, but usually they try to take all the precautions. And she gave an example that really made me cry when she was talking about a case, a friend of her, a lawyer friend of hers, I think it was, who had to deal with, in which a victim was actually killed because the police came at the door. There was some dog barking, and whatever happened, they didn't properly check because apparently the abuser was at the back somehow. He entered in the house and ended up murdering that person. So I think that was a very poignant example why the police tries to their best of their ability to do their job, and claiming that they came and they looked at the person and they just didn't see it, or they didn't want to see the bruises. It was ridiculous because you had camera footage, you also had the statements from the police officers, which it's just incredible that people can claim these things and try to twist how things happened. So yeah, I wanted to acknowledge all these people, and I want to give my thanks to them, because it was a long trial and it just felt like it went quickly because of the substance of the trial, the allegations, all the evidence that was brought in, but also because of the commentary of these people. Because it's one thing to go and watch in the media what the articles say, or watch random people on YouTube, but for me it was very important that these people were coming from a legal point of view. They weren't giving just biased commentary, they were giving legal commentary that was based on evidence and based on law. So it was very informative for me and very helpful, as a writer and as a person. I found it very helpful to understand. It was interesting to watch the trial, and after watching the commentary as well, I was able to understand what objection. Obviously, that's pretty easy to understand what it means, but to understand what hearsay and other things, legal terms mean. I also wanted to acknowledge the lawyers, especially on Depp's side, because they were great. Most of the time, they were amazing. I thought the other side had not great lawyers. They were able to make some points, but I thought they were I just didn't think they were, certainly they weren't as good as Depp's lawyers. Also, they didn't have the evidence Johnny Depp had, so you could say they had a difficult client, but also they were, in my opinion, they weren't as good. They didn't react as good to the testimonies when they were interrogating the witnesses, the questions they were asking, they were cutting, especially when Johnny Depp was on the stand giving testimony, they were trying to cut him off, they were trying to make all the witnesses give certain statements that they will be able to torn apart later or use to their advantage, but they weren't really. It was jarring to watch those lawyers, Ben Rottenborn and Elaine. It was really jarring because I didn't think that's how you do a good job, in my opinion. So I wanted to share this piece of writing with you because, on top of showing what kind of writer Johnny Depp is and what kind of human being he is, what he stands for, which is the truth, I thought it might be helpful to some of us. yeah, I just wanted to put it out there, see what you think. I would love to read your comments on this subject. I'm excited to see that Johnny is now performing in the UK. He did said many times that his first love is music, so it's great to see him enjoying doing that. After this weight has been lifted off his shoulders, essentially. And I wish him happy birthday. I think his birthday is in 2 days, on 9th of June. So happy birthday to him. I hope he is finally having a great birthday, well deserved. And I want to thank him for taking this public and bearing his everything for us to see, which again must have been difficult to do. But when feel you have nothing else to do but show who you are, full and full, with all the good and bad, I'm very glad he did this. Very, very grateful he did this. I'm excited to see what projects he comes up next in the movie sphere. And if he ever wants to read my books, my stories to children when he's visiting them, for example, that would be amazing. What would be the case really though for that to happen? But yeah, anyway, thank you for listening to this. It got a bit longer than I intended, but I mean, this is a big subject, and I think it was worth devoting a little bit of time to his statement. Thank you, and have a lovely day.